Hi, this is Kumaran from Answer Chennai. So welcome to the part 4 of ISO 9712 presentation. Please do subscribe to our channel in order to get the latest updates. Please like the presentation and share the presentation so that it reaches maximum number of people. So we have covered almost part 1, 2 and 3. So we just stopped at the number 3 which we discussed finally about the responsibilities of different levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. So in part 4 of the presentation, we will be covering the eligibility criteria. So especially for the candidates. So what is the training requirement? What is the experience requirement? And what is the vision requirement? So in general, the candidate shall fulfill the minimum requirements of vision and training prior to the qualification examination and shall fulfill the minimum requirements for industrial experience prior to the certification. So prior to certification, the candidate shall meet the minimum requirements of industrial experience. The training, the candidate shall provide documentary evidence acceptable to the certification body that he has satisfactorily completed training in the method and the level for which the certification is sought. So we as a ATO, so when we provide the training, so at the end of the training, we will be giving a course completion certificate, so which will meet the training requirements. For all levels, the candidate shall satisfactorily complete a course of theoretical and practical training recognized by the certification body. So the training should include the theoretical training as well as the practical training. But for level 3, in addition to the training, minimum training given in table 2, there is a table which mentions about what is how many numbers of training, how many hours of training, especially for each method for level 1, level 2, level 3 is clearly mentioned. Apart from that, the preparation for qualification can be completed in different ways dependent on the scientific and technical background of the candidate, including the attendance of other training courses, conference or seminars, studying books, periodicals, and other specialized printed or electronic materials. So most probably all these ways will be helpful, especially during the renewal process, which is based on the point system. The minimum duration of training undertaken by the candidate for the certification. So it shall be defined in 7.2.4 and it's in table 2, which has been very clearly defined for each method. And what are the possible reductions? It is mentioned in the class 7.2.5. This duration is based upon candidate possessing adequate mathematical skills and prior knowledge of materials and processes. If it is not the case, additional training required by the certification body. Whatever the training hours mentioned in the table, it includes both practical and theoretical courses. When creating industrial sector as defined in Annexure A, so in Annexure A, very clearly they have mentioned what is the industrial sector, what is the product sector, etc. So the certification body should consider whether the minimum training requirements are sufficient or should be increased. So when we are talking about different sectors, either a product sector or industrial sector, so the CB should consider whether the minimum training is sufficient or should be increased. In case a person wants to do directly level 2 without doing level 1, so the total hours which is shown in the table, you have to include both level 1 and level 2. Similar way for level 3, in case a person wants to do directly level 3 meeting the experience requirements, the training hours of level 1 plus level 2 plus level 3 will be added together. When considering the responsibilities of a certified level 3 and the content of part C of the basic examinations, for level 3, additional training about the other entity methods may be necessary. So when you take the level 3 basic examination, it consists of part A, part B and part C. So part C will talk about different NDT methods. So for that, in case if necessary, additional training may be given. So let's take the example, one of the example. Suppose let us take the magnetic particle testing. In case a personnel comes for taking a level 1 training and certification, so he has to be trained for 16 hours. So he will be trained for 16 hours. Then when he finishes his level 1, when he comes for level 2, he can be trained for 24 hours. So once he holds the level 2 certification, when he comes for level 3, he can be trained for 32 hours. Just consider now, a person is coming without having level 1 certification directly to level 2. That means level 1 and level 2 to be added together. So he has to minimum take 40 hours of training. Suppose consider a situation, a person after meeting his experience requirements directly comes for level 3 without level 2. So that means you need to add level 1, level 2 and level 3 together. So 16 plus 24 is 40, 40 plus 32 is 72 hours. So you will be trained for 72 hours. A note is given here. The RT here, it does not include anything on radiation safety. It only includes about the method. Now let's talk about the possible reductions. So the possible reductions in training duration, when several reductions are applicable, the total reduction does not exceed 50%. In any case, if you want to reduce, he has a training, different training records, etc. But he will be given only 50% of exemption in training. So remaining 50%, he has to undergo the training mandatorily. Any reduction, whatever you are doing, it requires the acceptance by the certification body. For candidates seeking certification in more than one method, suppose a person is having MT, he wants to do PT. Or for those who are already certified and seeking certification in another method, when the training syllabus concern duplicates, suppose your training syllabus you take MT and PT, so there will be a common syllabus which is mentioned for product technology. So the person don't have to repeat the same product technology again when he comes for PT. So in that case, the total number of training hours may be reduced in line with the training syllabus. For candidates who has graduated in the relevant subject from technical college or university, or have completed at least 2 years of relevant engineering, the total number of required hours may be reduced up to 50%. Suppose a person is having a diploma or engineering degree, so the total number of training hours may be reduced up to 50%. And whatever the training or engineering science study, the subject shall be relevant to the NDT method, maybe the mathematics, chemistry, physics, or to the method of product sector or industry sector like metallurgy, engineering, etc. For level 1 and level 2, when the certification sort is limited. So what do you mean by limited? For example, ultrasonic testing is a method, whereas a person wants to do only ultrasonic thickness gauging. That becomes a limited certification. The person wants to do only the ultrasonic lamination check. That becomes a limited certification. Again, a radiography testing, a person wants to do only interpretation radiography. It is a limited certification. So in application automated ET, UTF bar, tube rod, thickness, lamination check. So the training duration may reduce up to 50%. In case it is a limited certification, the training duration may be reduced by up to 50%. For direct access to level 2 RT, where certification is restricted to film interpretation, which is just like a limited certification. So the minimum training requirement of 56 hours applies. So in case a person wants to do level T in RT without level 1, so he has to be trained for 120 hours. Whereas if it is a limited certification consisting only of film interpretation, which can be given at only level 2, there is no level 1 for film interpretation. So the minimum training requirement of 56 hours applies here. Now let us come to the experience part. The minimum duration of experience to be gained in the sector where candidate is seeking certification, it is given in the table 3, and the reductions are also given in the class 7.3.3. For example, when the candidate is seeking certification in more than one method, the total time of experience shall be sum of the experience in each method. So when he is seeking certification in more than one method, MT and PT, that means you have to add the sum of the experience in each method. For level 2 certification, the intent of the international standard is that work experience consists of time as of level 1. If the individual is being qualified directly to level 2 with no time at level 1, the experience shall consist of some of the times required for level 1 and level 2. No reduction in period of experience shall be allowed. The same way what we have seen in the training, suppose the person comes directly for level 2, level 1 and level 2 experience has to be added. So this is a table. You can see here for acoustic emission, eddy current, leak testing, radiography, ultrasonic and thermal. Person is doing a level 1, he should have minimum 3 months of experience. If he is doing level 2, then 9 months. Level 3, 18 months. Consider a person who wants to do directly level 2. That means 9 plus 3 has to be added, it should be 12 months. In case directly level 3, it is 30 months. So this time is considered by taking nominal 40 hours per week, which is a legal week of work. Suppose a person is working more than 40 hours, so he may be credited with experience based on total hours, and you should have the evidence of that experience. Level 3 responsibilities require knowledge beyond the technical scope of any NDT method. So this knowledge may be acquired through variety of combinations. It can be education, training and experience. So table 3 details the minimum experience for candidates who have successfully completed a technical school or at least 2 years of engineering or a science study at the college or university. Remember, the experience in months is given for the people who have at least completed 2 years of engineering or science study. In case, for example, in India, the person who is coming, he has finishes only +2 or a 12th standard. He wants to appear for level 3 based on his experience. So in that case, you have to multiply this factor by 2. So this becomes 36 months and this becomes 24 months, the level 3 experience part. So if the individual is being qualified directly from level 1 to level 3 with no time at level 2, the experience shall consist of some of the times required for level 2 and level 3. So a person is having level 1, he comes directly for level 3. That means you have to add both level 2 and level 3 together. No reduction in the period of experience shall be allowed. Let us come to possible reductions. So in the same way, we have seen in the training, the maximum reduction is only 50%. So here also for experience, when several reductions are applicable, the total reduction does not exceed 50% of the experience duration. Any reduction, whatever you are giving, it has to be accepted by the certification body. When considering possible reduction duration of experience, the certification body should take into consideration the following elements, especially the quality of experience, because it can be variable. Skills may be assimilated more quickly in an environment where experience is concentrated and has a high degree of relevance to the certification sought. When gaining experience simultaneously in 2 or more NDT methods, surface methods, MT, PT and VT, the experience gained in application of one NDT method may be complementary to the experience gained in 1 or more surface methods. Suppose a person is gaining MT, PT and VT simultaneously. So in one method, if he is gaining experience, it will be more complementary to the other methods. Similar way, experience in one sector of NDT method for which certification is already held may be complementary to the experience in the different sector. Suppose a person is having in the weld sector experience, so some of the experience, obviously it will be complementary to the casting sector because the method is going to be same, only the technique or the way the practical or where the defects are there, only that is going to be different. The level and quality of education possessed by the candidate should also be considered. This is particularly the case for level 3 candidate, but it can also be applicable to the other levels. So credit for work experience may be gained simultaneously in 2 or more methods with a reduction of total required experience as follows. Suppose the person is having experience in 2 NDT methods, the reduction of total time required by 25%. Suppose let's take an example. Suppose a person is having an experience in MT and PT. So for MT and PT, the requirement is, suppose a person is having MT and PT, he comes for taking the certification of PT. PT requirement is 4 months experience. Since this guy is having an MT and PT, I can reduce 20% of the time. So that means 25% of the time in 4 months is 1 month. 1 month. So the candidate should show minimum 3 months of experience in PT. Same way, when it is 3 testing method, total time can be reduced by 33%. If it is 4 or more testing methods, the reduction of total time required, it can be reduced by 50%. Remember, very important point, in all cases, the candidate shall be required to show that for each testing method for which he seeks certification, he has minimum of 50% of the time required in table 3. So as I already told you, suppose a person comes for a PT examination who is having MT and PT. So as we have already seen, 3 months is sufficient. 3 months is the total experience. But however, he should have worked at least minimum in combined experience of 3 months is sufficient. But however, he should work in a PT for minimum 2 months. That is 50% of the time. So whatever the reduction is what we are seeing, it is based on combined experience. But here, minimum 50% of the time he should have spent in a particular method. For example, MT and PT, he comes for PT. So minimum 2 months he should have worked in the PT. So in all cases, the candidate shall be required to show that each of the NDT method and sector combinations for which he seeks certification, he has at least half of the experience. So it's like 50% of the experience required. And when you see this, and this shall never be less than 1 month in duration. It should not be less than 1 month also. So when the certification sought is limited, so about thickness measurement or ultrasonic gauging, etc., the experience duration, whatever is given in the table, may be reduced by 50%, but shall not be less than 1 month. Another very important point, the standard states here is up to 50% of the practical experience time may be achieved by an appropriate practical course. The person can undergo an appropriate practical course, the duration of which may be weighted by a maximum factor of 5. This procedure shall not be used in conjunction with specified in 7.3.4. So 7.3.3.4, which talks about the 50% reduction. So you should not use this with that 50%, so that you cannot totally take away the total experience of. So here, if a person feels he is short of the experience, so he can undergo a practical training separately, maybe for specific number of days, and he has to undergo the defective specimens training, and he has to make the reports, etc. And this program also shall be approved by a certification body. So maybe he can undergo a practical training for 15 days on various components and other thing. And if this program is approved by the CB, so that total number of hours can be multiplied by the factor of 5, and it can be included for his experience as per the class 7.3.3.5. Now let us come to the vision requirements. The candidate shall provide documentary evidence of satisfactory vision in accordance with the following requirements. Near vision acuity shall permit the reading of minimum of Jagger number 1. So it is J1 or times New Roman 4.5 at not less than 30 centimeter with one or both eyes, either one or both eyes, either corrected or uncorrected. Corrected means a person who is using his specs because of power, that becomes a corrected vision. Uncorrected means natural vision. So a person who don't wear any specs. The candidate shall provide a documentary evidence of satisfactory vision in accordance with the following. So one vision we have seen, which is a near vision. The other one is a color vision. So color vision shall be sufficient that the candidate can distinguish or differentiate the contrast between the colors or shades of gray used in the entity method concerned as specified by the employer. Generally, you see, for color vision examination, Ishihara charts is used. So in the Ishihara chart, the number of plates will be there. So in which a number is hidden with the different colors. So a person should be able to distinguish the numbers as well as a different way as there is a number image will be there, a path will be there. He should be differentiate the different colors, or if a person goes for specifically for radiography, there is a shades of gray which is available. So a number will be hidden inside the shades of gray, which the person should be able to differentiate. The certification body may consider replacing the requirements by compliance with an appropriate alternative. In case if any alternative is there, the certification body may consider replacing those requirements. So subsequent to certification, the test of near vision acuity shall be carried out annually. So annually near vision has to be carried out and verified by the employer. Regarding the color vision, there is nothing as such mentioned. So obviously you need to go for the every recertification, that means every 5 years. So obviously you need to do a color vision check, whereas near vision every year it has to be maintained. So this completes the total eligibility criteria for based on the training, experience and vision requirements. So thank you very much. So we will again meet in the part 5 of the presentation. Signing off now. Thank you very much.